Hi there, my name is Krista Miller, and I am the founder of a company called Summit in a Box, where we help online business owners create and run profitable virtual summits, whether you're just starting your business or whether you're already pulling in multiple seven figures. We specialize in summits with high conversion rates, high integrity, that lead to not just visibility, not just list growth, but record-breaking amounts of revenue as well. And I had this realization a couple weeks back after really pouring through all of our client data from hundreds of clients over the years and looking at who's pulling in six figures, multiple six figures, five figures, who's struggling a little bit more, what trends do I see? And I had this huge aha moment of certain things that can key us into where your summit revenue is going to come from and really what a six-figure or multi-five-figure summit might look like for you. So I am excited to go through that with you today. And we're going to walk through a couple different categories of businesses and where you would fall with where your summit revenue comes in. And I wanted to start with what I am calling a viral business. So this really relates to a lot of companies in like hobby niches. They're B2C companies, right? So they're targeting consumers, not other business owners. A lot of them are targeting people doing specific kinds of hobbies, like card making and crafting and things like that. There are some others. There are like homesteading. We've had a few education, a few healthcare, things like that. But these are the ones that tend to have the viral feel to them. If this is you, you typically have like tens of thousands of people on your email list, on social media. You just grow a lot faster than different kinds of accounts do. But the catch is these are not tens of thousands of people who will just throw four figures at something, right? They're a little bit more budget conscious. You're talking like $20, $50, in there is the most common price range you're going to have for your offers. And if that sounds like you are in what I am calling the viral business category. So let's talk about what summits look like in this category. So with this, you can't count on your backend offer, a course or membership, something like that, pulling in five figures immediately in most cases. Sometimes you can, but in most cases, your offer isn't going to pull in the bulk of the revenue right away. But you can count on huge numbers for your All Access Pass because you're bringing in huge amounts of attendees. And even if the All Access Pass price is lower, let's say an average sale price of $40, $50, you're making so many sales that is where the bulk of your upfront revenue is going to come from. And it leaves us with a revenue breakdown that's something like this. Of course, this is an approximation, right? But about 70% of your immediate revenue is coming from your All Access Pass. Maybe 25%. This doesn't even add up perfectly, but like 20-ish% is coming from your offers, 10% coming from sponsors if you decide to have sponsors, right? So this is kind of what that breakdown looks like with the All Access Pass making up the bulk of it. And I want to walk you through some actual numbers here. So one of our clients in the Launch with the Summit Accelerator, Kate, fits in this viral business category. So she brought in 16,400 attendees into her summit, right? That's a bigger summit. Her All Access Pass brought in about $107,000 up front. So that was huge upfront revenue just with the All Access Pass. She brought in a little sponsorship money, and then she also launched her membership. So she brought in 170 new members, which is great, but it's a lower cost membership, which we see in this category a lot. So it, quote unquote, only brought in $4,000 in recurring revenue, but that's recurring revenue, right? Stacked on top of the recurring revenue she already has and the recurring revenue she'll make in her next summit. So it's just really great things happening with this viral business category, but the immediate revenue from that All Access Pass is where the good things come from in the beginning. Another example here is our client Tara. She is like basically summit numbers on steroids. We do not typically see this level, but she had over 33,000 attendees. Again, viral business category. It's why I gave it the name. Her All Access Pass brought in, this was her first summit. Her second summit was actually bigger than this, but her first summit brought in $302,000 in All Access Pass revenue. That's where the bulk came from up front. She didn't have sponsors for her first summit. She brought in 1,100 new members to her membership, which was $30,000 in recurring revenue. Again, that's a big number, but not necessarily in comparison with this. Then, this gave her the big push of revenue in the beginning, and this stacked on top of the membership revenue she already had and the new revenue she added with her second summit. And it does really, really good things. And then I wanted to share one more example that wasn't like numbers that are as huge, but still fits in this category. So our client Hortense had 5,800 attendees for her summit. She brought in 33,000 in All Access Pass revenue, 3,800 in sponsorship. So that All Access Pass brought in the bulk of the upfront revenue. She added 240 new members to her membership, which was a low monthly cost. So she had about 2,600 in recurring revenue come in. Okay, but she fits in that crafty, kind of more viral business category. 5,800 these days is a very good number for a summit. So I just wanted to show you kind of like more realistic, doable numbers that might feel better for some of you watching this when you're just thinking of what it might look like for you to host a summit. So that's what this viral category looks like. If you know that that's where you fit, that's kind of where you can expect to see your summit revenue come from. The second category I want to break down is what I'm calling low volume, high investment. Okay, so this fits more B2B businesses. Okay, so most of you who target other business owners, you are going to fit in this category. There are also some B2C niches where people are willing to make a bigger upfront investment that would fit into this category as well. With this, you don't have tens of thousands of people coming in, but you can make 4 figures per sale. So if that sounds like you are in the low volume, so not a ton of people, but high investment category. So fewer people making a bigger investment. So again, you're not going to pull in 10K attendees in most cases. That leads to 6 figures in immediate All Access Pass sales. But when everything is done correctly, you can count on big numbers for the offer launch that you tie into your summit, which is something that we specialize in here at Summit in a Box. So here's what this chart looks like. So maybe you have about 70% of your revenue coming in through your offer, 20% or 25% through your All Access Pass, and 5% through sponsorships if you decide to pursue sponsorships. One example I can give of this is us. This is the category we fit in, and I left off the offer revenue so you can see what a disappointment this might have been for us if we hadn't added that in. So we had just under 1,700 attendees signed up for our summit. It's a small summit, right? Brought in 16,000 in revenue. We had about 4,000 in sponsorships. So not a ton of revenue is coming in up front, but our offer brought in almost 82,000. Right? So because we have the high investment offer that really converts, we don't need a ton of leads thrown on it. We just need the right people. Another example of this is our client, Stephanie. So she had about 3,000 attendees. Her All Access Pass revenue, definitely not shabby, right? Brought in about $42,000. And then her offer launch on the back end, again, very well targeted, a little bit higher price point, brought in $116,000. So if you fit into this category, this is kind of what you can expect your summit revenue to look like. Maybe not as high All Access Pass sales, but your launch revenue more than makes up for it when you have an offer that converts presented to the perfect fit audience. Okay, so those are the ones we tend to see have numbers that just kind of knock it out of the park. There is a middle ground though. Again, it doesn't typically pull in 6 figures, but definitely can. We've seen it a time or two. So one example of this is our client, Hunter. He had about 5,800 attendees, and you can see that his All Access Pass revenue and course revenue kind of evened out. Right? He had about 32,000 in All Access Pass sales, $37,000 in course sales. He added in some sponsorships as well to boost up that revenue, and the results were great. It just looked a little bit different. And typically when you're in this middle ground, we don't see the huge numbers, but it still does really, really good things for your business. So I want you to think about which of these categories you fit in. And if you fall into one of these 2 groups, you're in a viral B2C niche with a high volume, even if you're still growing, or you're in a B2B business where you have a lower volume but a solid high investment offer that converts, we want to help you create record-breaking results in your summit. And as you've seen with this training, that's exactly what we specialize in. So if you fall into one of these 2 groups and you are ready to make these results happen, DM us on Instagram. To make it easy, you can DM me viral if you fall into the viral category, or low volume if you fall into the low volume, high investment category, and we'll talk about those next steps for how we can make these results happen for you.